Hey, good evening, boys and girls. We are going to do our next lesson. Let's log in real quick. Hope you guys are doing well. And we are going to start with we talked about gesture drawings, and this time we're going to talk about observation drawings. Real short lesson, so hang on with it. Bear with me. So, observation drawings. What is an observation drawing? Remember from last week, we had talked about a gesture drawing, and a gesture drawing is a really quick drawing. It doesn't really show any details, but it shows like a movement and like little scribbles.
What do you notice when you are far away from, close to, or looking down on a scene?
¿Qué notan cuando están lejos, cerca o mirando una escena desde arriba?
Okay, so what we're going to learn today is we're going to learn how artists use observational sketches, and we'll find out what an observational sketch is and how they use different viewpoints in their work. You're also going to learn how to identify, you're going to learn how to compare time periods and cultures reflected in paintings by the 16th and 20th century artists. So after this, the activity is you should be able to use a specific point of view to create a drawing of people in relation to their environment. You should also be able to evaluate your own work using the 4 steps of art criticism. Before we do that, we're going to look at our spotlight on music. And here's a song called My Home's in Montana, the cowboy song. Okay. An observation drawing is made while looking at a person or an object. It can be from bird's eye view, an aerial, ant, eye level, or close-up view. We're going to play the song, the cowboy song, My Home's in Montana, which includes landscapes and close-up images. Okay. So what I would like for you to do is to maybe do a little drawing or just listen to the song. And if we were in a classroom, we would all do different drawings, and then we would compare different viewpoints of students. But since you're not, just want to listen to this for a little bit, and I'll stop it halfway.
My home's in Montana. I wear a bandana. My spurs are of silver. My pony's gray. When I'm in the ranges, my love never changes. With blood in the stirrup, I'll gallop away.
When valleys are dusty, my pony is trusty. He looks through the blizzard, the snow in his ears. The cattle may scatter, but what does it matter? My rope is a halter for big-headed steers. When far from the ranches, I chop the pine branches to leave on my campfire as daylight grows real. When I have partaken of beans and of bacon, I whistle a merry old song of the trail.
Well, that was a fun song. My Home is in Montana, the cowboy song. So let's check out some artwork. Lesson 3 introduces observation drawings. An observation drawing is a drawing that's made while looking at a person or an object. Okay. So we're going to look at the paintings on these pages. This one is by a very famous artist named Peter Bruegel the Elder. Pieter Bruegel the Elder. It's called Children's Games. I'm going to zoom in. This is a really cool picture. We'll zoom in on it, and you can see some really cool stuff on it. When you first look at it, it just looks like tiny people, but we'll zoom in on it. You can see the different activities on here. And then there's a really cool picture called Endangered Species by Paul Goodnight. However, let's see here. Endangered Species, there are at least 80 games that are portrayed in the first painting, and it shows children in the 16th century playing games. Some of these games you guys probably will recognize just by looking at it, because, kids always play the same games. And then in the second picture, the artist focuses on children also. However, they're completely in a completely different environment. Both children's games and endangered species are genre paintings. So I know when you talk about genre, when you go to the library or in literacy, it's talking about different styles of books or so in the same thing when we're talking about genre in artwork, they're talking about showing everyday life. Okay, so
Let's take a close look at the two works of art.
if you look around your room right now, how do the students close to you look in relation to the students who might be behind them or those even further away? Notice the title of each artwork and the movement of the children. Use descriptive words to compare the environments portrayed in each painting. So let's check it out. We're going to look at this and we're going to show how there are different ways of seeing action. Let's look at this. This is cool. I always love this painting. Okay, so this is a Flemish painter, and it was painted in 1560. You can find it in a museum in Vienna, Austria. Flemish meaning like Dutch, like thinking from like Holland, Amsterdam. So a cool thing, I can zoom in on this. Let's look at some of these things that you see. It looks like it's like a church or school. I'm going to start way up here. Okay, and these are kids. That must be like recess or something. They're playing ball. Okay. Someone's climbing a tree. Girls are playing. Someone's spinning around. They got their hands out. They might be playing like, there's some people in the water. Maybe they're playing tag. Kids sitting in a circle and someone's playing with them. I don't want to know. Kids are playing ball over here. Someone's carrying someone. Kids are playing on the steps. Look, they're hanging upside down. Some of you guys do that when you guys go out to recess. Someone's walking on some walking sticks. Whoa. Oh, someone's getting a scrapple here. Climbing walls. Whoa, I didn't even really notice that all the way down there. And that's like from far away. They're playing like marbles or something. What is he doing? Hitting someone with these things? I don't have no idea. Climbing a log. Maybe playing an instrument, maybe? This is a funny picture. Oh, they're playing with blocks. They're riding. Probably playing like chicken or something. And it looks like the ladies over here preparing their lunch, probably. They have the little teachers or like their little cafeteria workers who are preparing them while they're playing around. On a barrel. He's running. He's tired. Oh, I don't know. No, he's not tired. Looks like they're playing leapfrog. This is a really interesting. This is one of the really neat reasons why you should go to a museum. You could spend hours in there just looking at the paintings. Because when you see it on a piece of paper, it's not the same as actually going in a museum and being able to see it up close, seeing all the different details. Hula hoops. I find it interesting. These are really funny. And these are the same things that we see when we look outside of you guys playing on the recess, out at recess. Obviously not the same thing, but cool. children's games. And then when you look at this one, here's some children, except this looks like it's more recently, in 1970, and it's called Endangered Species. And we're looking at the setting. Why do you think they call it Endangered Species? It's a very abstracted view. Children. Living in the city, because you see the buildings. Endangered species. I love that. Oh, I want to go back to this. Do you remember how we were talking about using the gesture lines earlier? Here's a really cool gesture line. See how she looks like she's got more than one leg? That is like a gesture, like a sketch, that's a fast sketch, so you can kind of see her legs, and it makes it appear that she's moving and she's in motion. And then the swishing right here. What point of view did the artist use? In Goodnight, the three children playing up front are seen from a straight ahead, a close-up viewpoint. And then in Bruegel, the viewer is looking down on the scene to take numerous activities. Let me explain a little bit. Okay. Well, how many different games can you play? You probably have to go back and look. There's a lot. I think I pointed out some of them. Both artists portrayed children moving differently in their environment. What different messages do you think the artist was sending, and what feelings do you get when you look at each painting? Well, in Goodnight, this one right here, their innocent children are endangered by the environment because they live in the city, and it's kind of tough living in the city, and it's dangerous. And in this Bruegel picture, the bunch of children playing games creates a busy, energetic, and overwhelming feeling of activity. Just probably would give your teachers a heart attack if your principal looked outside and saw all the kids jump around doing stuff like that. So we would say it's a very energetic picture. So let's get into the observation drawings, and we're talking about the different modes. And while you're looking at a person or an object, you have different ways of drawing things. Right now, a lot of you guys tend to draw things from, like, for instance, like this one right here. You guys tend to draw things at a far away level where you can see everything and there's a little person, big space around. But there's actually different ways that you can create artwork. So an aerial view is like when you're drawing a picture and they call it a bird's eye view, or aerial. Aerial is like the sky, means the air. A bird's eye view is when you're up in the sky, and the view that you're drawing is when a viewer is looking down on a scene. And everything in your picture would look as if you were an airplane looking down. So you wouldn't see the bottom of the trees. You'd only see the tops of the houses. You wouldn't see the sides of the buildings. You would only see the tops of things. In an ant's view would be the opposite, when you're a viewer who's looking up towards an object. So everything would be foreshortened. I mean, everything would look like you were at the ground looking up, and you wouldn't see the details around you. You would just see all the tall things, and as if you were looking up. Or in a faraway view is what most of you guys do. The viewer feels as if they're standing away and they're viewing the scene from far away. And of course, a close-up view is like when you take your camera and you zoom in on something. So a close-up view is when you can't really see the details around it. You can just see like a zoomed-in view. Okay, so remember those 4 views.
Can you illustrate different points of view of your classroom by creating observation drawings?
So what you're going to do is you're going to create an observation drawing using your pencil. First, you draw a scene of a room that you choose, or your own room, or maybe a fantasy room. Use 1 point of view. You can make one from an aerial view where you can only see the tops of things. You could do one from a view, if you were an ant, what would a room look like? Or you could do any of the 4 that we talked about. Okay, look at the points of view in the children's games that we looked at. Try to get some ideas. Here, think about how the student artist created the observation drawing. And this is a faraway view because you can see the people are real small. You can see the surroundings. This person was 9 years old, Graham Bennett, when he created this painting. So how best can you capture the action of a group of children running and playing? Draw a sketch by observing children at play. Think about repeating the lines and shapes. using the gesture lines that we talked about last week. And if you can't obviously go to the playground, you can imagine one. And it would be kind of cool if you were to sketch the different viewpoints. Here's an example. How can you best capture the action of a group of children running and playing, and see how they're running and playing and they're drawing the sketches? And try to do it from a different point of view. Try to make it either from the ant's view, or from a sky view, which is an aerial view, bird's eye, or a faraway view, or like a zoomed in, so you would only see the close-up of someone's foot or someone's face. When you're done, you should be able to describe the children in their environment that they're in. You should be able to explain how you captured the children's movements and gestures, and you should decide how your viewpoint creates a certain feeling in your picture. Okay, so depending on what you want to say in your picture, you might have a different view. Did you successfully draw the gestures of the children in relation to their environment?
Let's review how artists use different viewpoints.
So, for instance, if they're on a
Vamos a cómo los artistas usan diferentes puntos de vista.
the vista. So if they're on a soccer field, that would look kind of weird if they were just standing still. Remember to use your diagonal lines and your gesture movements and create something. Or, if they are, just make sure that the movements and the actions on the playground, that they're moving and they match their environment. So you've completed lesson 3. I will see you next week when we go to lesson 4. It'll be short and sweet, just like this. I hope you're doing all your other work and visiting all your other resources to get your activities in, just like you would during a normal school week. Have a great day. Y'all be safe.